as ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello everyone, this is CoreTV News of the Hour. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. The police have set up tactical operation points in selected areas of the northeast and northwest to check illegal movement of small arms, light weapons and explosives. The facilities are to be located on highways in Kano, Jigawa, Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Bauchi, Gombe and Taraba states. Police spokesman Frank Oba said that the operation points would be manned by policemen who have received adequate training in tactical operation and counter-terrorism. He added that the Acting Inspector General Sulaiman Abba has directed all Assistant Inspector Generals of Police in charge of the zones covering the affected states and all Commissioners of Police to supervise the special operation. Meanwhile, the Kaduna State Police Commissioner Umar Shehu has paraded 65 suspects from various crimes recorded, including a man with a printer who prints fake Nigerian currency. Usman Shehu says his men recovered 21 vehicles, 65 suspected armed robbers, 37 arms, and 360 live ammunitions. Other items include a truck containing 70 bags of wig conveyed from Ondo State. The carrier of the wig usually uses police uniform with the rank of ASP as a way to gain free access from one place to another. The uniform is said to belong to one Ayodele Adekoke. The Executive Secretary of Lagos State Security Trust Fund, Fola Athawari, has said that proper funding for all security outfits in the country will achieve the much desired safety of lives and property. He stressed that the success recorded by Lagos State in the area of security is largely due to the heavy investment of the state government in security outfits operating in the state.
Federal input into federal security agencies. As you know, the federal government exclusively controls and funds federal agencies, police, the state security, the army and so on. But the underfunding has been anemic for the past 20 years. So all of these agencies are challenged in terms of the resources and tools needed to address growing security threats. And you know, they are worldwide. And it's just Nigeria, the question is whether Nigeria is prepared, is really understands the nature of the threat and is prepared and is ready to make the sacrifice to fund them. In Lagos, of course, you know, the government set up the Lagos State Security Trust Fund, whereby both government and private corporations, individuals, associations donate to the fund. We collect all the assets and then we distribute and manage them. So whereas the federal government has only given the State Police Command 5 cars in the last 7 years, the trust fund has been able to put together 850 distributed to. So you can imagine if there were no trust fund and if the state government was not concerned, we'd be in very, very, very serious problems. So I think at the end of the day, we may complain all we like about the quality of policing that we have or the quality of security, but at the end of the day, there is an obligation on the part of government and individuals to resource these people properly so that they can, I mean, we've seen that with effective resourcing, even though we're not fully there, but we've seen the impact that the ability to respond, the ability to be flexible, the ability to expand your operations is important, and you have to invest, as the state government is doing. You have to invest in emergency call services, you have to invest in CCTV, you have to invest in tracking, and it is not just the procurement of items, but the management of items. That's where we are challenged, and that's where I think we need to look much more closely at, rather than just thinking that the military is about fighting. And we have to look at how the military moves logistics, how it manages things, etc. I think these are the key elements, and the universities should start to offer courses now in the management of security, resourcing the process, and so on. I think we're not doing enough thinking in terms of dealing with these issues.
Thank you.
Acting Inspector General of Police Sulaiman Abba has assured Nigerians that the response time for distress call to the police will be a maximum of 5 minutes. He gave the assurance when he received Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano in his office. On the spot, Governor Obiano reaffirmed his government supported the police authority through the provision of 64 vehicles.
Policing is about prevention generally, preventing crimes. But the second important thing, the response. Okay. If you have a good response time, then these two things you have. If you have them, try to prevent where it is unpreventable and the crime takes place, you should be able to respond on time. Our desire is to have at least in every police command a response time of maximum 5 minutes. Maximum 5 minutes. And we'll do everything possible, and I'm happy the governments, both at the federal, state, and local governments level, they are making commitments in this regard. Some have clearly come out to go beyond commitment, like we have seen in the case of Anambra State, all for nothing other than to ensure that the lives and the property of the people are well protected.
Why we've had a lot of success in Anambra State is because of superior intelligence that SSS are providing, and the readiness of the Anambra Police Force to be at the point of action, within a short time, with the aid of the equipment that we provided them.
The National Conference has again deferred consideration of its final report. The document would now be deliberated upon on Thursday. Conference Chairman Idris Kutige took the decision as soon as delegates resumed on Wednesday from a 3-day break. Although no reason was given, many delegates believe that the controversy over alleged hidden agenda forced the postponement.
It is very clear that a major crisis was in the offing. Given the report by newspapers this morning and most media organizations in the country about the position of certain groups, notably the Northern Delegates Forum, on the constitution, the new draft constitution that was distributed to delegates as part of the package for discussion. And like you said, the leadership shut down the meeting today abruptly in order to preempt and forestall the kind of rancors and probably chaotic situation that the whole conference would have been plunged into.
The spokesperson, Department of State Security, Marilyn Oga, says some politicians in Osun State offered operatives of the service 14 million naira bribe to compromise the just concluded governorship election. Oga explained that the service rejected the bribe, which she said was offered to the DSS director who supervised the August 9 governorship election. She made the allegation at the National Information Center, Abuja, while responding to a question on why the All Progressives Congress was at loggerheads with the service. The DSS deputy director explained that the service was given 200 million naira by the government to provide security for the election, adding that before the DSS deployed personnel and material for any operations, they are given money upfront, stressing that the agency's personnel cannot be induced with money. OG expressed satisfaction that operatives of the service and other security agencies made it possible for voters in the state to exercise their franchise. Osun State incumbent and Governor-elect Rauf Aregbesola has commended the people of Osun State and the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for their steadfastness in the face of intimidation during the August 9 governorship election in the state. Aregbesola gave the commendations while receiving his certificate of return at the INEC office in Osogbo. Rashid was
The
there.
Independent National Electoral Commission has presented the certificate of return to Rauf Aregbesola and his deputy Titilaoye Tomori. In his address, the resident electoral commissioner of Osun, Segun Agbaje, says INEC has lived above board in giving level playing ground for all contestants. Aregbesola gave a clean slate to the electoral body.
Accordingly, the commission remains focused and continues to set up all the machinery needed to guarantee the conduct of free, fair, credible, and accessible election in the state. This led to the timely commencement and smooth conduct of election day activities as enumerated thereunder.
The governor-elect gave an analogy of his triumph despite all efforts from the powers that be to push him out of office.
Then said David to the Philistine, "You come to me with a sword and with a spear and with a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. You can replace Israel with Osun. The God of the armies of Osun, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you down and cut off your head. And I will give the dead bodies of the hosts of the Philistines this day to the birds of the air and to the wild beasts of the air. That all the earth may know that there is a God in
The election recorded a large turnout of voters and provided the sitting governor a shot at a rare second term in office. Aregbesola dedicated his victory to the people of Osun.
Thank you. Because it was through you that God delivered this to me. Total sacrifice, self-sacrifice, and amazing support under the direction of the Almighty God, that we are today qualified to receive certificate of return.
The handing over of the certificate of return to Governor Aregbesola has officially placed his recognition as governor-elect as required by the law. Rashid, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
The youth wing of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) says it will commence mobilizing support for the party ahead of the 2015 elections. The leadership of the group said after a meeting in Abuja that the idea is to draw attention to President Jonathan's achievements.
We PDP Youth Network have ultimate task to help our nation to succeed, become secure, achieve technological advancement, eradicate poverty, become more healthy citizens of the world, and move us to the first position as far as Africa is concerned and world at large. To achieve this, we had a plan, synergy, and strategies, and coordinating people from all nooks and corners of Nigeria, both in diaspora. That is why we have such spread across the entire 36 states, including FCT and 774 local governments.
The Ebola virus has claimed another victim in Nigeria. Here's Jato Abdul Qadir, the protocol assistant who received the late Liberian-American Patrick Sawyer on arrival from Liberia. This death brings to 2 the number of Nigerians to die from the virus. ECOWAS Commission has since confirmed the death of 36-year staff of its Lagos liaison office. The commission said in a statement on Tuesday night that the protocol assistant was one of the people who assisted the Liberian-American at the airport. Abdul Qadir had been under quarantine until his death. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has authorized the use of experimental drugs in the fight against Ebola as the death toll topped 1,000. A Spanish priest became the first European to succumb to the latest outbreak of the virus. The declaration by the United Nations Health Agency came after a U.S. company that makes an experimental serum said it has sent all its available supplies to hard-hit West Africa. These antibodies were produced in mice in response to Ebola's viral envelope and can block or neutralize the virus. These antibodies were tested on animals too, where they neutralized the virus, and now they've started being tested on humans. 3 healthcare workers, 2 Americans and 1 Spanish in the course of the last week. This research is interesting, but it's limited. The amount of antibody available is very low, and even if we take a decision to produce it semi-industrially, it will take many weeks before we get there. So this is a sign of hope, but it's a hope limited to a small number of patients. It's out of the question to consider giving this antibody to all patients suffering from Ebola at the moment. 16 Indonesia occupants of the Shogoro housing estate in Ogba area of Lagos, who owned houses before it was reconstructed, have been allocated flats in the estate. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola allocated the flats at the August draw of the Lagos Homes Ownership Mortgage Scheme. Abiola Oluwole was there. This report is presented from our studios.
The Lagos Homes Ownership Mortgage Scheme is a scheme of the Lagos State government that seeks to address the housing deficit in the state by providing 200 homes monthly. Addressing subscribers at the 6th draw of the scheme, Governor Fashola announced the location of flats to 16 initial occupants of Shogoro Housing Estate that were sacked by flood before the reconstruction of the estate.
16 senior citizens have benefited from 16 homes, part of the Lagos homes in the Shogoro housing scheme in Ogba. 2 things are instructive from that experience, that if we make a promise to you, we intend to keep it. Our regeneration initiatives that are going across in this state will not leave anybody who is already a beneficiary behind, but that it is going to require us to cooperate. It is going to require us to sacrifice. It is going to require us to break an egg if we truly desire to have a breakfast of our omelette.
Winners of the draws expressed their joy and called for the sustenance of the scheme.
They are very fair and transparent. There is no mago-mago, it is straightforward.
It's so easy because first of all, I am conversant with the use of web. I know how to get my information the way I want, and all I did was just to Google the information, Lagos Home, and follow the procedure.
The Lagos State government revealed that construction of houses is currently going on at 23 sites across Lagos.
Our next point of call is Gaza, facing another major conflict. That will be after this break. Stay with us.
This is Lagos. This is our city. You know that our city needs heroes. Yeah, yeah. Our future is in our hands. The spirit of Lagos. A city that is strong in value. A Lagos that is filled with heroes. With neighbors that care for each other. This is Lagos. This is our city. Our city needs heroes. Our future is in our hands. The spirit of Lagos. I need you, you need me. Together we're the spirits of Lagos.
Welcome you to From the Ivory Tower and happenings around the country. Varsity teachers get to air their views. students are actually not left out. We bring you intellectual ends from the events happening around you. It is dedicated to educating the populace with a spice of entertainment.
From the Ivory Tower, Tuesdays, only on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. Palestinians living in Syria fled the war raging there and returned home looking for safety, only to find themselves in the middle of another conflict.
Ahmad Abu Shabab has seen war in more than one country he has called home. As a Palestinian living in Syria, he fled the war region there now in his third year and returned to Gaza, looking for safety in the land of his family. But today, he's visiting the grave of his son who was killed by an Israeli airstrike while trying to evacuate wounded people.
We fled the war, only for war to come to us again. Life is hard and tough at home. We have nothing, no house, no shelter or education.
In 1967, after the Six-Day War in Israel, some 500,000 Palestinians left their lands, many finding homes in Syria. But with the conflict between the regime of Bashar al-Assad, the Free Syrian Army and increasingly powerful jihadist groups entering a fourth year, over 70% of them have had to leave their homes once more. Among them are the Al-Mawi family, like Ahmed, they too fled to Gaza.
We
fled because there was no security in Syria. The situation is not clear. In Syria, we lost our livelihood. There was no way to work, and with the war, we lost our desire to stay. But in Gaza, the situation is different. Yes, there is a war, but it is different.
When Ahmed Abu Shabab left Syria in 2012, Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood, then in power, helped Palestinians to return home by facilitating passage through the Rafah border crossing into Gaza from Egypt. Once in the Gaza Strip, Hamas promised to pay 170 euros every month to the heads of returning families until they found employment. But after 5 months, with Hamas isolated by the political changes in Cairo and economically strangled, the payments stopped.
Our house was destroyed. We came here to find comfort and a home, but we found the opposite. And nobody cares about us. Nobody gave us a home. We're now living in the debris, in the street.
Hamas' situation is far from unusual. This Israeli offensive in Gaza has left more than 2,000 dead in a little over 1 month. And though negotiations for a durable truce are underway in Cairo, for many Palestinians, a sad story of exile and war continues to be written.
A shallow 5.1 magnitude earthquake struck the Ecuadorian capital Quito, triggering landslides that killed at least 2 people and violently shaken buildings and homes. Ecuador's risk management agency says 8 people were injured and 3 others trapped in the landslides at quarries on the outskirts of Quito. A landslide also engulfed a vehicle on the road north of the city, but the driver escaped unharmed. Authorities have closed roads around the capital in case of more landslides and also shut the Quito airport. The quake lasted more than 20 seconds and caused panic in Quito, where residents evacuated buildings. Ecuador's Geophysics Institute said the quake occurred at a depth of 5 kilometers and was followed by a forceful aftershock. It warned that more small aftershocks were possible. Emergency services say the epicenter was near Mita del Mundo, a tourist attraction at the equator where a monument has been built at the dividing line between the northern and southern hemispheres. And that wraps it this hour on CoreTV News. I'll be back at 9:45 for the primetime news. Stay with us.